RK's Guyana Free Media presents for human development and national development this message.
GRANGER'S GRANDIVITY, that is, he's in his mid-70s, had to instruct him that denial was not an option. Denial was only possible if he had accused Harman of pursuing a direction for which he was not consulted. Thus Harman had to resign. So if Granger did not know, and he hasn't fired Harman, then to use Maurice Bishop's yard foul accusation against Tom Adams, this is a yard foul government in Guyana. My commentary: but is it possible that President Granger is being held in prison, a prisoner, by certain personalities like we saw had happened to the GCOM chair at the center of GCOM when they were about to make the declaration and skullduggery was afoot? Is it possible that the president is being held ransom? This is where I put in a question mark to this presentation by Freddie KISSOON. And my last point is this: in Guyana, a yard foul government. Is Granger losing it? Freddie KISSOON asks. A dossier is submitted to the PR forum on behalf of his government, and he describes Granger as an American citizen. How can anyone hope to keep that a secret if it is true his wife is an American citizen? And it's possible he's an American citizen, he says he's not, but is that really a secret? That could be released so very easily and gotten. And maybe the American government or the embassy will release that. My point, my comment at this time. So, if he's an American citizen, he didn't know before, as we saw with the other ministers of government and in opposition and government, that they gave up their citizenship. And one such person is Gail Teixeira, who must be respected and saluted. Back to the article, in the same press statement denying that his government entered into a PR covenant with an American government, Granger chastises the Guyanese people for not checking their facts when they refer to him being a US citizen. How can any president be so barefacedly inept? Not my word, I don't speak like that of presidents. The dossier was prepared by people approved by his government. Harman paid for the project. The project lists Granger as an American citizen. How, in quoting from the Harman-approved dossier, Guyanese are not checking the facts? This is not only barefacedness, but arrogance and contempt, according to Freddie KISSOON, columnist and philosopher, politician of political science and lecturer. You are described as an American citizen. Back to the article. You're described as an American citizen. And when people quote from your document, you castigate them for peddling misleading statements. Has President David Granger exhausted his usefulness to Guyanese politics? The second manifestation is Nagamutu's Nagana. Guyanese must be disturbed at the insanities cascading down from the corridors of power. After Granger's gargantuan banality, just 3 years after comes Nagamutu's idiocy. Why would you want to have a technical team monitoring the CARICOM mission and the foreign observers to see if they are maintaining social distance requirements? Freddie KISSOON asks. Nagamutu's pomposity is imbecilic. If he, Nagamutu, hasn't picked up the virus and is alive and well to perambulate Guyana talking nonsense, why does he think the CARICOM team and foreign observers are suicidal that they will come to Guyana and behave irresponsibly, thus endangering their lives? My personal commentary here, and you see what I'm talking about, the man? since he went into politics in the so-called third force, which he swore he would never be, when he said to me, I swear by my God and my Quran, my Bhagavad Gita and the Bible and the books of Buddha and everything else here, he told me, Roshan, I cannot be a third force. I have to be a first. For God said, Moses, come forth. This same person wants the recounting hours to stop at curfew time. But any schoolboy can tell Nagamutu that there are sections of Guyana that are allowed to work after 6. So I'm going to say, in my own words now, to Moses Nagamutu, out of the article, my commentary, Moses Nagamutu, there are persons like security guards, security officers, doctors and nurses, policemen and soldiers who can work after hours. So this is a national construct. This is a national dilemma. So the people can work after 6. Mr. Moses Nagamutu. The same Nagamutu, as head of the COVID-19 task force, and he's asking in brackets, why did they not put a medical doctor or trained health specialist instead of a mediocre politician to head the third force? End of brackets. And I go back to the article, has exempted lawyers from the curfew. So even lawyers are exempted from the curfew. Because sometimes people are arrested, lawyers need to go to the lockups or the police stations and so on to represent their clients. So what is wrong with Moses? Moses, you have lost yourself, my old friend, teacher and brother, my inspiration, a mentor. You have lost yourself coming from me. Correct yourself before you see your God. We all need to clean our state, make a heartful confession to the nation and to the people, apologize to the people, clean your slate properly, not the way they cleaned Carl Greenwich's slate. Clean yours properly, don't mess it up more. Back to the article. So if lawyers can be put out after 6, if police and soldiers can be out after 6, if journalists can go to work after 6, if pharmacies are allowed to open after 6, why can't people be in the convention center touching ballots after 6? Within 4 days we have 2 more manifestations of gross stupidities from the corridors of power as night follows day. Guyana will wake up tomorrow to see another one. It is a daily occurrence. End of his article. But yes, we see a daily occurrence of gross stupidity. We saw a man that I always had respect for and looked up to, a trade unionist, making some ridiculous commentary because he became a candidate. And nothing wrong with that, because we have had Kumar Chand, who was a party and politician member of the PPP. But to go and put out a defense of CARICOM without being commonsensical or intellectual is despicable and disgusting. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, Guyana is in a position of perdition. Guyana is in a position of degradation. Guyana is a position of total shame. And now I'll give you a quick small article from the EU ambassador. The EU ambassador in KISSOON News, the other papers have it too. The EU ambassador Fernando Pons Canto, a gentleman, a scholar, one who loves Guyana more than those Guyanese who are doing these inanities and these stupidities, I would say. I met the man several times at the Compton Center when vulgarity and lawlessness by the counters, by the RO, and by the CEO was at its height, and he was shocked to see what was taking place. And he says in part 3 of this presentation, no sanctions yet in Guyana, EU ambassador. Ladies and gentlemen, I say thank you, Lord God. I do not want sanctions on my country. I do not want sanctions on anybody. But whoever breaks the law and sanctions has to come down, please start with the individuals and their finances. Not necessarily their families, but I don't believe that the children should carry the sins of the fathers. To the article, the European Union has not started considering sanctions for Guyana as yet, as there are still hopes that the ongoing political situation can be resolved democratically. This was stressed yesterday by Ambassador of the European Union to Guyana, Fernando Pons Canto. The official was a guest on the popular elections COVID-19 Watch on KISSOON Radio 99.1 to 99.5 FM yesterday, being hosted by senior journalist Leonard Gildhari and Dr. Yog Mahdia. Asked pointedly whether the EU is considering sanctions on Guyana after the tabulation process for general elections held on March 2nd ran into hurdles when the opposition claimed that the process was fraudulent. The ambassador said it is too early. There have been several court matters and a recount process is scheduled to commence as early as this week. At the moment, it has been 8 Mondays since the elections, with no recognized declarations that will pave the way for a president to be sworn in. And I will say again, friends and families, I don't care which party wins or who becomes the president. I will serve my country like a military genius and officer should. And I will say, Commander-in-Chief, lead me and lead my nation regardless of who it is. Dr. Irfan Ali, Brigadier David Arthur Granger, que sera, sera. Country first, politicians after. There have, however, been two controversial declarations of Region 4, which have both been challenged successfully in court by the opposition. Pons Canto explained that the relation between the EU and Guyana is based on what is called the Cotonou Agreement, which is also the framework between the EU and 79 countries from the African, Caribbean and Pacific countries. It was pointed out that the agreement is based on fundamental principles. I must state at this time that even the African, Caribbean and Pacific countries disagreed with the counting vulgarities that was taking place and sent out a press release to the world on this. Back to the article. The agreement allows for suspension provisions to be invoked if the principles are not fulfilled, according to the ambassador who was speaking via Zoom. One such principle is democracy. One sanction could be suspended of cooperation with Guyana. I repeat, one sanction could be a suspension of cooperation with Guyana. Ambassador Pons Canto said that the EU has slapped sanctions on a number of countries in Africa, with himself involved directly in a number of cases. The EU has slapped sanctions on Haiti, a Caribbean territory. If there is a breach of democracy, we'll have to do it because we are bound by these provisions. I must state at this time that some of these people, including the trade unionists and some other acolytes and satellites of political misdirections, are saying that these people are corrupted or bought out. So as if Dr. Irfan Ali and President Jagdeo can buy out the whole European Union, all the nations, the whole Commonwealth, all the nations, the whole CARICOM, the whole Carter Center, the whole American government, the whole Canadian government. Oh God, help me, Lord. What is wrong with the mental assassinities of some people who seems to be totally in grandiose, idiotic realities? He stressed that cooperation is one area that can be affected. The EU has been funding a number of projects, including in the power sector, with the Guyana Power and Light Inc. We have a huge amount of cooperation with Guyana. I would hate it personally to see that interrupted. Asked if the EU has any submissions at all on sanctions, Ambassador Pons Canto insisted that he comes with a message of hope. The story is not yet finished. It is not the time yet to put forward the proposal, because this situation can still be remedied democratically. He explained that if not resolved democratically, then the EU has always the duty and determination to act according to principles that are shared. In fact, he said that like the US, Britain and Canada, the EU has sanctions which include the freezing of assets and visa suspensions. Again, this is something that we do not like to use, that I don't like to use. I repeat again, this is something we don't like to use, that I don't like to use. Pons Canto was one of the ambassadors who walked out last month from the Ashman's building, where the tabulation process for Region 4 was suspended after questions about the process. And that's the end of the article, but I must state that several diplomats were mocked by so-called paid protesters, by threats, and even international and local observers were being threatened and remarks thrown, and the police pulled aside and laughing while the observers, international and local, were being threatened and feeling uncomfortable and laughing. The policemen were like the laughing policemen. I wonder if the commissioner knew this, or someone from the area of Ashman's building or away was directing officers in charge there what to do, as it will appear the direction that was going to Lowenfield when he was always like 24/7 on that phone. Who was he talking to? Ladies and gentlemen, friends and family, yours truly, Brother Haji Roshan Khan, saying thank you for tuning in and saying farewell, friends, and please share to friends and families around the world if you like this, if you think it will be useful. Thank you, and God bless you. Namaste, Om Shanti, Salam, goodwill, blessings in the name of your Lord. And don't forget to use your sanitizers. Don't forget to use your face mask. And don't forget this amazing item, Environ, very good price, made by Demerara Distillers Limited DDL, for sanitizing, for cleansing, for spraying on yourself, your body, your clothes, compounds, tables and desks. We are not sponsored by them, but they are my friends. And so I share it with you, my friends and families. Farewell.